All right. Hey, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Facebook, Facebook friends, Facebook community, Facebook clients. I trust everyone's having an amazing day here. Look, if you're here for the first time, do me a huge favor. In the comment, just hit a one. Type a one in the comment so we can actually acknowledge you for being here. And we're going to have a very informal conversation. I'm going to introduce you to a friend of mine. In fact, I actually know I've met D'rcy through his wife Laura, who's a member of Land for Success, and we're going to talk about automation today. A lot of us, I'm sure we've heard that systems succeed, right? It's people that fail. Would you agree with that? People fail, but systems succeed. So I can't think of a better person today than D'rcy, who is an automation, if I could use the word specialist, to share with us how do we automate our business in 2021 and make more money, you guys. Anybody want to make more money or even just make your life more efficient? So D'rcy, welcome. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
But D'rcy, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hop over to my iPhone for a minute, and I'm just going to make sure I'm going to go to my profile.
Sure.
You could do the same if you like. I just want to make sure we are live. I'm not sure how many of individuals like myself, my kids tell me I'm a technical dummy. So that's why I'm glad that D'rcy's here. Because I've done Facebook Lives like this before, and I'm done, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I have the best Facebook Live ever, and there was no sound. So it sounds like we're live. So I'm just going to share this with a few of my friends, share it to a couple of groups like Land for Success. All right. So why don't we jump right into it? If you're here, thank you so much. I know, D'rcy, you're busy. There's other things you could be doing, but you're here with us. D'rcy, I'm going to put you on the hot seat right from the start. Would that be okay?
Go right ahead.
Before we talk about automation, I know that's your expertise. I know some of the folks are thinking, how can I automate my business, make more money? Mm-hmm. I just want to know, like, who's D'rcy?
Tell us
a little bit about yourself.
I'm a grassroots kind of guy. I grew up on a farm, no electricity at certain points. I mean, it went out a lot. Once it went out, you had to know how to do it. You went to the brook, got water, put it on the stove, heated it up, things like that.
Wow.
And grew up from that. And that's one thing that I actually keep near and dear to myself. So when things go completely opposite to where you want to go, you actually have a place to start from. So I've been through that whole thing. And then about 20 years ago or more, I moved to Toronto, and everything is uphill from there. I've actually started as a GC, a general contractor, and because I really wanted to get into the housing market, and eventually did. And then once I was done that, I got into IT. I had taken a couple of courses back in New Brunswick. That's where I'm originally from, and I got more into IT and actually getting IT jobs. So over the last, I'd say from that point was like say 2003. From 2003 to probably 2010 or 11, I was working for different companies back and forth and just learning the processes, learning how they did it, learning what mistakes they made and how they fixed it. That's kind of where this all started.
Wow, that's incredible. D'rcy, you mentioned no electricity.
Yes.
And no running water. My parents immigrated here from Hong Kong. So I still remember my early days, we lived in a place where there was no running water, right? You know how people talk about, I don't know if I can use these words on a Facebook Live, but when somebody says like you don't have a pot to
pot to piss in, yes.
Piss in. Yeah. We didn't. We literally had a bucket. That's how I grew up.
Yeah.
So
I had an outhouse.
Yeah.
So I mean, I can remember having an outhouse, which is almost a hole. You build a platform over top of it, and that's where you do your business in. And if you wanted to have a shower, it was you were standing outside on a rock with somebody pouring water over top of your head.
Incredible.
So when you go to a campground and you're sitting there and you're doing everything rustic, that's more or less what I did for my whole life until we got running water. So it was interesting. But the thing is the one thing you'll actually understand and you'll agree with is when you start there, it's easy to go back. But if you
Mhm.
start with everything running and everything working for you, it's really hard to go backwards. You
Right,
kind of
right.
resist it a lot easier, a lot harder. And I do know when we had the power outage here in Toronto, what was it, 10 years ago?
Yeah, yeah,
10 years ago or something
I
like that?
remember that.
I went home and started up the barbecue and had one of my best dinners I ever had in
Yes.
probably 3 weeks. So, and I walked home, so it's a few miles to walk home, so it was not a big deal. So I enjoyed it. I had fun. Um,
That's amazing.
yeah,
You know, I'm so naive, like I'm such a technical dummy. I remember that power outage.
yeah,
I remember our neighbor said, "Hey, you know what? I've got a generator." And he had a generator in his garage and he had powered up his house. And he said, do you need some electricity? That's how technically dumb I was. I couldn't even understand what a generator was at the time. But
okay,
interesting. So farm boy, you said farm boy,
yeah,
growing up on a farm,
yeah,
quite a journey. So you became a GC.
yes.
What did you build? What type of things did you build?
I built houses,
Okay.
mostly residential. We
Okay.
did houses from top to bottom. We did like basement apartments, things like that. I also worked in a condominium. That was an interesting journey. At the same time, kind of fixing problems, everyday problems, kind of thing. So it was, went in on grassroots and worked my way up.
Interesting. I want to welcome Lester Bailey. Lester Bailey and I were just talking about housing this morning. He's in Arizona.
Yeah, yeah.
In fact, you should interview him, D'Rcy, in some of your future episodes. Lester is a retired police officer, and he has
Interesting.
actually protected two U.S. presidents.
Interesting.
Can you imagine? Like he's
We
so
need to
humble.
get
Some of the
contact.
stories he would have.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So real estate. Now, how did you get from real estate to IT? That's like a that's
Well, it was actually an accidental on purpose kind of thing. I started working for some companies that floated me around to different places and was introduced and had the opportunity to go up north of into Yellowknife
okay.
and work at a couple of
Yes.
mines. So when I was up there, it was pure bank. It was literally, you just worked.
Yeah.
And once I was done, I came back and I put, at that time, you could
Now,
buy,
were you still single, or were you married when you were in Yellowknife?
I was engaged.
Okay. Okay.
It was a mutual decision between the two of us for me to go up there, and I
Yeah.
floated back and forth. So I wasn't up there all the time. I would
Okay.
actually come back down for every once in a
Yeah.
while. And funny enough, it was either Yellowknife or Bermuda. So funny
Oh,
enough, I went to Yellowknife, and it's not
must be
that
good.
cold.
Must be good money though.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there's danger pay and things like that. Like
Yeah.
back when I was in New Brunswick, I used to work in a mill, and there was always danger pay and things like that. So
Yes.
when I went up there, it was okay. It's you're gonna put your life on the
Yeah.
line pretty well every day. So when I come back, I had enough money, so I said, okay, what am I going to do with it? I need it to actually work for me rather than me work for it.
Uh,
So what I did is I actually put it into plans. Back then, you could actually buy plans before the houses were broke, the ground was
yes.
broke.
Yes.
So and things have got a little bit different now. It's almost 20 years later or so. So we would buy the plans and then wait a little while, and then once it was broke, sell it and
Hmm.
flip it that way, kind of thing. And
Yeah.
then we eventually bought houses and things like that, and yeah, got into that. And I was always in IT. I mean, IT started me into real estate, and then the housing boom kind of blew, and
Yeah.
kind of had to
Yeah.
get rid of everything, and it was a culture shock. Like it was like people were coming at me for every little problem, and then all of a sudden nothing. So then that's when I actually went back and concentrated on my business, and it's funny enough, it's almost 10 years later that the next housing boom, aka the Corona, happened, and then we actually switched into another gear. So that's where the automation went.
Amazing. Amazing. So I hear you have an event coming up.
Yes, yes, we do.
Can you tell us a little bit about the event? What is it about and who is it for?
Okay, so the company we have now is called the Biz Automator, and how that became really actually was born was middle of March of last year. A lot of our clients would come to us and say, okay, I need this done, and if we don't have this done, I have to shut my doors in 2 weeks. And I mean, this kept going and going and going. It's like
Yes.
a recurring theme, right? So I'm thinking, okay, how can I help these people? What's the missing pieces? Things like that. So I would go in, hot fix them, meaning like almost duct tape them back together,
Wow.
and so they could actually
There,
work.
I hear there isn't anything you can't fix without duct tape, right? Is that
Yeah,
true?
that or Gorilla Tape. I'm going to tell you those two things that you keep in your lunchbox. So
I'm
eventually it
going to
got
buy
to,
you the duct tape. Actually, there is a book called Duct Tape Marketing, so we can't do that.
yeah, but I haven't read that one yet, but I want to read that one. But um, I got to the point where, okay, this is a recurring theme, and like, what can we do? So we started working with clients and actually putting pieces together. Like, let's say their Facebook wasn't really being optimized and wasn't working
Okay.
for them. They had to do a lot of stuff manually. So we help people with that, and then we help people with their LinkedIn. And the biggest part is their scheduling. All their
Okay.
scheduling is all over the place, and nothing is automated. Everything is like phone calls or emails, and that person gets the email and then they have to put it into their calendar and things like that. So what we did is we turned it around and actually streamlined everything. So if I want to actually have, was it Lester? I'm bad with names, worse with faces.
Lester Bailey.
So if I want
Yes.
a meeting with Lester Bailey, I'm going to say, okay, I'll send him a link. He'll fill out the link, choose the time, and all that does is it shows up in my calendar 3 days from today. And
Amazing.
then I know 3 days from today at 10:30, I have a call with Lester. So all of a sudden, bam, here we are. I don't have to really talk. That information that I send him to begin with, it actually has some key questions that I have kind of understand where he's coming from. So when I get on the phone with him, like you and I are right now, I can actually give quality back to him because I
Right.
really don't want it. I don't like I like it, but I don't like the fact finding mission, the first phone
Yeah.
call, first 2 or 3 phone calls. I like to actually kick that out of the way and give like value right away.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So the event you have coming up,
Yes.
what day is that? What day is that?
We start on the 4th and go to the 8th, and it's at two
Wow.
o'clock in the afternoon
That's
on Eastern
that's 5
Standard.
days.
Yeah,
That's incredible.
yeah,
Well, so a lot of people talk about courses. I've seen so much fluff out there. They say I got a course, and you show up, it's like 30 minutes, 60 minutes, night. And I'm not trying to knock anybody with a shorter course,
yeah.
but there's so much fluff out there. You got 5 days of solid training here.
I have 5 days of solid training. My coach, she's one of these people that her and I get along really well. And the reason I'm doing 5 days and the reason I'm doing a solid hour at least on each day is I want to give, I'll tell you, I'll give you 1, 2, and 3, I'll give you 6
Amazing.
points of, okay, this is what you can do. And it's right from day one. If you don't have something from day one, you tell me, I will double it up the day after. If you don't understand something, we can get on a call. I can actually make things more clear later on.
Amazing.
So
And how does someone register for this event?
we actually have a link. I'll actually set it up and send it to you, and we can actually put it to everybody that's interested. And if
Awesome.
they can't get a hold of me directly, they can also get a hold of you.
Amazing. So look, guys, if you want to automate your business in 2021, okay, make your life more efficient, drop a link in the comment below and just say me. So if I see the word me, then I know you would like to have D'rcy here actually send you a link so you can actually go and register for this 5-day training. If you want to reach out directly to D'rcy, leave a comment there or direct message me as well. And I'm happy to connect you with D'rcy. D'rcy, so you mentioned LinkedIn, you
Yes.
mentioned Facebook.
Yes.
In terms of automation, I know you've got so much information to give and share during those 5 days. Is there one other thing that you could share with the folks that are watching right now? One of the benefits of what they're going to learn or how it's going to
Well,
help?
we're not only doing a Facebook, LinkedIn
Okay,
automation, it's literally your invoicing system, your
I like
payroll,
that.
literally everything's automated. It's just one click, you're
Invoicing.
done. Invoicing is done.
Okay.
You send them a link, they buy your product, and it's just done. I mean, they set up the payment schedule if they want it once a
Hmm,
month or once a year. They can do it or every 6 months. Doesn't really matter. Um, there's a lot of little nuggets in there. I'm
got it.
going to actually throw a little bit more in that I really not sure of right now. And as you can see, I kind of go right from from the belt kind of thing, and answer the questions as they come. So
That's
it's got
amazing.
an interesting twist.
Wow. Well, I mean, invoicing is important. How many people do we know who fail in business because they don't know how to ask for the money or they don't know how to
Yeah,
invoice and collect the money that's supposed to be coming in?
yeah. I mean, the biggest thing that people do is they don't have two things. They don't want to approach and they don't want to ask. So
Yeah.
if they can't do either one of those, it's a situation where you've got to
It's
figure out
crazy,
some way
right?
of doing that.
Like
Yeah,
you provide value and then you're afraid to ask for the money.
exactly. And I mean, I've been in that boat, and in some ways, we're both still in that boat. So it's a situation where it's kind of a mindset you have to get over. And
Yeah.
once you get over that mindset, then it'll just fly. And
That's amazing. That's amazing. Um, well, that's amazing. So January 4th, I mean,
yeah,
tomorrow, where are we? Today's already the 30th.
yeah. So it starts on Monday.
Starts on
Monday
Monday,
at
around the corner.
Monday at 2 p.m. Sorry,
Okay.
2 a.m. You're gonna be waiting for a while, but 2 p.m. it's on and on.
Okay. And what's the cost for for the
It's a
event?
free event. Um,
No, come on, all that value?
yeah, yeah. I want to put our actual information out there and see what happens. And there's some PDFs that are coming towards you and things like that during
Yes.
the day. There's going to be a workbook.
Okay.
There's going to be like the very
That's amazing.
first day I'm going to be sending something out. The very last day I'm going to send this exact same thing out. I want it filled out both times,
Okay. So
and
there's going
it's
to be
just
some
for you
homework.
to
There's going to be some.
figure out. No, it's not. Well, there's going to be some homework, but it's where you are now and where you are
Okay.
then, right? 5 days
That,
later. So what's the difference?
that's
Kind of thing.
amazing.
Yeah.
For the folks who are watching, some of my friends, some of my clients, some of the folks at Land for Success, and you guys know that Laura is a member of Land for Success. We're going to make sure that all the information is posted in there as well.
Yes.
And one of my biggest fears, D'Rcy, is the amount of value you're offering in this 5 day course. One of my biggest fears is individuals who think that just because it's free, they don't take it seriously.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And I find that if you're going to put work into it, if you're going to show up, do it. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter whether it's free. It's your time.
Exactly.
It's an hour a day. That's 5 hours out of your week that you're going to dedicate to going to a course. It doesn't matter
Yes.
whether it's free or not. You're either spending money, spending time, or spending money and time.
Yes. Yes.
You
And
know,
time is money, right? Time is money. What you
exactly.
really need
So
is, yeah. You guys are going to leverage off the experience that D'Rcy and Laura has. I'm going to ask. I know it's quite a question, but you said something really neat. One of my mentors um, once said, "My dad sent me to go work for somebody else first,
yes,
so I could screw up somebody else's companies
hmm
and then come back and run our family
yeah,
business." I
yeah.
like kind of what you said earlier. All these different companies you have worked with, you said have prepared you for what you're doing today. Can you explain a little bit of that?
Well, I worked for different companies, and they would put me in different positions. I have a broad range, so I mean, I did a lot of different things in the network and computer field. So each job was a different role, and you always found things they were either lacking of and we actually had to improve or fix, or things like that. So what I did is I actually took all those problems and how we fixed it, and then that's where my first company, IT First Aid, actually came from. So I jokingly say I took all their mistakes and built a company around them, and that's kind of what I did, really. But I learned a lot from them. There's a few of the managers that I worked for that I consider mentors. Some that really, kicked me in the ass and told me, like, this is the way it should be done, or said, okay, like, I've been in your shoes. Like,
Yes.
I've been in your shoes. I know how much time it's going to take. I'm not going to say, do a 5-minute job or do an hour job in 5 minutes. I'm going to give you the full hour, right? So, and for those people that have been there, I actually put more work for them.
It's amazing.
Value. You get more value from it. So.
Love that. And that's one of the principles of Think and Grow Rich, isn't it? Going that extra mile.
Yeah.
Right? Doing
exactly.
doing more of what you were paid for.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, D'rcy, thank you so much for joining me. And folks, if you're watching, if you want more information, type the word "me" in the comment or direct message me, and I'm happy to get you the registration link so you can attend this 5-day training with D'rcy next week. D'rcy, I'm going to put you on the hot seat here, ask you a few more questions, just so to have some fun here, just so folks can get to know you a bit more. Are you okay with that?
No worries.
All right. So, D'rcy, what's your favorite color?
Green. Forest.
Forest green. Okay.
Yes.
I thought you would say green like money, but
no, forest green.
Forest green. What you have a favorite ice cream?
Heavenly Hash.
I'm sorry?
Heavenly Hash.
Oh, Heavenly Hash. I can go for that.
Just one of those things.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite business book or motivational book that you would recommend to some of the folks who are watching?
It depends on your mindset. I mean, I choose I read a lot of different people. Like, I've gone through most of Grant Cardone's stuff.
Okay.
I didn't really, at the very beginning of my business, find myself as a seller. I didn't think I was one of those sellers, but I realized halfway through his course that, yeah, I'm selling this because I know it the best, right? I know the material,
Right.
I know what's going on, so I should be doing the selling rather than finding somebody else doing it. I would actually really recommend his stuff. There's a few things. If they're not really popping up on my head, I actually have to have my audiobook listing in front of me, so I actually know what books I've read. But Rich Dad Poor Dad is out there. That one's really good. His next book is really good. And there's some small ebooks out there that are really decent. And if anybody's actually interested, drop us a link and I'll throw a couple of links your way.
Yeah, that's amazing. So Robert Kiyosaki, Grant Cardone, amazing. Right? 10x your business. Those are some pretty good thought leaders you got there. Last question for you.
No worries.
D'rcy, if you had a magic wand right now, okay, and this is kind of a tricky one because you're constantly figuring out ways to serve and help your clients.
Yeah.
Okay, right? This question here, if you could wave a magic wand right now and do one thing for D'rcy, what would you do?
I would go back about 10 or 15 years and reset my mindset.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I would reset my mindset because it took me that long to get around the fact that sales was something that I needed to learn. Sales was something that I needed to know. Yes, I could get somebody else to do it, but at least I needed to know it myself, because if I'm going out to networking meetings and things like that, I'm still selling.
Right.
I can still have a salesman. I still had a salesman, but I mean, I need to sell too, right? Yeah. So that's one thing. And the other thing is, the one main thing that I grabbed, and it's somewhat dealing with the question you asked, is the actual mindset that I grew up with is when you're given an opportunity, go for it. And I mean, I've worked in mills, I've worked in cold storage, I've worked on the fields, farms, and built houses and things like that. And this is even before I got to Toronto. And I can remember building or digging our basement for our bathroom, right? So, I mean, you literally given a pickaxe and said, okay, dig a hole.
Yeah.
So, that kind of mentality, that kind of work
Right.
ethic really helped me
Yeah.
when it came to, putting my back up against the wall and said, okay, you can only
Just
go
do
that
it.
way.
Right.
Yeah,
Just do
get
it.
it done.
Yeah. You mentioned real estate. So I was a real estate agent for a while. One of my best clients, D'rcy, he was like my adopted uncle, Uncle Diego, right? He
Yeah,
was from Sicily. And so every time we had a flip, he would, you mentioned a axe pick, is that what you said?
yeah,
Right?
pickaxe.
So
Yeah,
while some of the younger guys would be out there with a jackhammer, here he is like at 68. He's got his right. He's just hammering away with his axe pick, right? The guy has such a strong work ethic, it was unbelievable.
yeah,
But it was a guy who just did it. He just did it, right? So he would
yeah,
buy a house. I would say, Uncle Diego, just do some cosmetic work to it. He says, okay, okay, okay. We close the deal. I drive by it a couple of days later, and the entire house is gutted.
yeah.
And he was just like, he just went to work.
He did probably three-quarters of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Like he was an electrician. His brother his name was Luigi, and he was a tiler, and his
yeah,
son was a framer, and they did so much of the work themselves. Yeah, they
yeah,
were never afraid of work, but they just did it. Like what you just said, just do it.
yeah. And if something happens, I mean, that's one thing is if you're working in a crew, and I remember I actually helped a friend of mine build out a restaurant in
Mm.
Mississauga. And I was working through it. I was just doing the wiring. And they were putting in the stoves, and these suckers
Yes.
are big. They're the size of a car most of the time. And, or, well, kind of the same size of a car now. But one of the guys was looking for somebody to help, so I just stopped right up and I helped him move the stove over. Didn't think of it anything, and like it was like okay, it was one of the foremen, so I just helped him. It's just one of those things. I didn't even think about it. Just get it done, move it out of the way,
Yes.
and it's more or less help him to get him out of the way so you can do your own work. Kind of way I look at it. But
That's amazing.
yeah, so
Wow.
yeah.
Well, awesome. And D'rcy, once again, thank you so much for joining me and the folks
Thank you
that
for
are
having me.
watching. The folks that are watching, we'll make sure that we'll post the link or just type the word me in the comment. And I'm happy to connect you with D'rcy, and you can get the information you need to attend. It's a 5-day training,
Yes,
okay, on how
5 days.
to automate your business.
Yes.
Oh, before I let you go,
Yeah, go ahead.
you had mentioned that you were helping clients who are almost ready to lose their businesses because it
Yes,
wasn't working right.
yes,
What about COVID right now? There must be individuals who are like, their businesses, they must be thinking the same way, like, is my business going to last? Am I going to be here for another week or two?
yes.
What about folks that are in that situation right now? Are you able to
Well,
help them?
yes, definitely, and
Okay.
that's kind of where this course came from. Is like
Amazing.
helping people that are in this situation, and really, I mean, this business started when COVID started last year,
Okay.
and this kind of where things are going. So, I mean, if you're in a situation where you really don't know what's going on, how to actually bounce back, especially because of everything being locked down, what
Yes.
the deals and all this stuff. This is what we're here for to do.
Oh, that's amazing. So,
Yeah.
folks, you guys heard it. COVID, no COVID. If your business needs a check from what do they say? A check from the neck up or something like that.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, you know who to call, right? D'rcy is here.
Yeah, it's one of the things is the everything's going online. A lot of companies are going online now,
Yeah.
and that's a lot of the problem is to how to switch. And it
Yeah.
was like today I'm brick and mortar, tomorrow I'm online. It's like it had to
Yeah.
be done in a
How
flip
do
of
you
a
bridge that?
switch.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'll finish with this comment. Tammy Williams, one of our executive leadership team members here, always talks about, from brick and mortar to click and order.
Yes.
And so if you're struggling with that, you definitely want to talk to D'rcy about his upcoming course on how you can automate your business. Doesn't matter if you have a brick and mortar business or an online business. You definitely should, in my opinion, attend the training that's coming up with them. Once again, thank you everyone for being here. And until the next time, Have an amazing day. And D'Rcy, thank you. Thank you for
You're welcome. Thanks a lot.
us.